Welcome to Running is Bullshit. I'm Stuart.
And I'm Amy, and you're listening to the podcast that loves to hate running.
Amy, do watches not work in the rain? Is that a thing?
My watch does work in the rain. You got the same watch as me, haven't you?
I have no idea. I haven't paid attention to you or my own watch. But no, the last 2 weeks I've been doing these Thursday trail runs, and like after months and months of great weather, we've been so lucky. We've had 2 weather warnings for rain in the last 2 weeks, and it's been really miserable. Both of those runs, and only those runs, my GPS on my watch has gone mental. Like, not consistently wrong. Like, sometimes it's like just a bit too far north or something. It's just gone completely haywire. I've been running through hedges and over woods and through roads and just all over the place. And it's on these 2 runs where it's been pouring with rain, and my GPS has gone all over the place. Is it too much rain for GPS?
Maybe. I mean, I don't actually go back and look at my runs in any detail, so that is probably happening to me as well, and I'm just not paying attention to it. So
you would have no idea. That's a good point. Also on these runs, because it's been so wet and we've been in the woods, it's like incredibly humid and there's like mist in the air. And trying to run downhill with a head torch on is usually okay, but the head torch is just lighting up the mist, and I can't actually see it. Like, my head torch is too good, I think. I've been turning it down a little, which actually helps more, because otherwise, it just lights up the mist about a metre in front of me, and I can't even see the floor that well. So it's been some very exciting trail runs we've had recently.
I hate that. The other thing I hate with head torches is where it's not quite properly on your head, and it bobs up and down a bit, and it always makes me seasick. Is it seasick or travel sick or whatever it is? Like the bobbing up and down of a head torch. Hate it.
No, I've never had that. I think I've got quite a steady head.
I think it's worse when it's raining or it's misty, because obviously the light is less sort of dispersed out further away, and it looks like it's closer to you, and then it's more noticeable.
It's reflecting back to you a lot more.
Yeah, and it's more noticeable. So yeah, hate it.
Oh, we've also got a new game. We mentioned the kind of doggers that turn up at the car parks and when we go running. So when we're all there and a car arrives, we've got a game of Dogger or Jogger. To make a guess. I do feel a bit sorry for the people that do the lap of the car park and leave, and we have to be like, so I feel like saying like, no, you want to just head to the left, up the hill, there's another car park up there, you'll be fine. You crack on.
Or maybe like a post-run, instead of going for a post-run coffee, go for a post-run dog.
Yeah, we'd just be like, right, whose car? Let's all jump in,
put the
warm
keys
each
in
other up.
somebody's dry bag and shake them all around.
Yeah. That'd be a way to drop sign-ups quite quickly, I imagine. Let's catch up with the last episode. Richard Bullmore said, loved this week's episode. I was listening to it in bed with my headphones on and laughing to myself at the point about needing a wild wee. People are listening to us in bed. How strange. My partner thought I was just randomly laughing as he didn't know I had the podcast playing. Here's my BS about running whinge. Epilepsy is bullshit. I've been having seizures since Christmas, having developed a sensitivity to flashing Christmas lights. What? She says, I never used to react to them. I'm trying to train for the Brentwood Half in a month's time, but keep having seizures in between my runs, which take a couple of days at a time to recover from due to fatigue and post-fit migraines. This means I'm losing out on training time. On a happier note, I did my longest run today yesterday, almost 19k, which is not as far as many of you run, but for me is a big thing to be happy about. Definitely always a thing to be happy about.
Definitely as well if you've been having like health issues. So I assume you didn't have epilepsy before, maybe you did and you're more sensitive?
Just Christmas lights gave you epilepsy?
That's quite scary.
You really went overboard. You went overboard on the Christmas lights.
How bright were your Christmas lights? Because let me tell you, one year I accidentally bought outside lights for the inside tree, and they were horrific and they were very, very bright. So did you make that mistake and then have them on the flashy mode? I don't know. But yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I can't even joke about that. That fucking sucks, man.
It's like our end of year episode where everyone just told us they're really sad medical stories, and we're like, oh, this isn't very funny at all anymore.
We can't make a joke about it, so
As much as we hate running, a longest run is a longest run. Doesn't matter if it's 19k or 50k. Always can be proud of that.
19k that's a long run, isn't it? It's not like you're saying, oh, I ran 5k.
Basically a half marathon.
Yeah, you get that. You can call that a long run.
Oh, I feel a bit dirty being so positive just then. Sorry, move on. Let's move on.
Vicky Cousins has been in touch and said, awesome episode. Listened whilst doing some housework, which made it less dull. The episode or the housework? Oh, she says that the housework, not the pod. Thanks for clarifying.
Cool, cheers.
We've got another medical story coming in here. She says, IBS is BS, particularly BS when you're running a semi-long run and there are no toilets available. So you run home after leaving your club mates you've been running with, but it's a precarious run. FYI, made it home in time. It was an enjoyable run until that point. Fuck you, digestive system.
Digestive systems. Who needs them?
Cool.
What they've done for us.
Well, I can't even imagine how hard it is to be a runner with IBS, because we all know, like, running can set the bowels running as well.
Yeah.
So that must be increased tenfold if you have IBS. That must really suck.
Yeah, I made a whole story the other week out of needing a shit at the end of my run. And I can't imagine having that happen all the time would be horrendous.
No, I don't know whether there's a point though where you just think fuck it and just get into your wild poos, you know, just double down on it, just make it a thing. I don't know.
Full triathlon mode and just go.
Yeah. I don't know whether at some point I'd get so sick of having to constantly trying to find a toilet. I'd be like, fuck it. Carry a sock in my bag. Forget even the one sock club. You got a sock ready waiting in your bag. Just get on with it, you know.
Helen Patricia said she tried to use her Strava more than once in an airport, only to be thwarted by those pesky roofs ruining her GPS. However, Claire Allison can confirm Strava works on planes, as she once walked from Dublin to Bristol in an hour 23 minutes.
Wow.
Not bad.
That's not bad at all. Very quick.
Good move. And she apparently has left it on her Strava, unless that was just an old screenshot, but just left it on the Strava because she does not give a shit.
Imagine all the crowns that are going and she's like...
Oh, brutal. Let's have a tea update. Ooh. Now, we're partnered with Bird and Blend Tea, and that means we're going to tell you what tea we're drinking. If you like the sound of it, you can go to runningsbs.com/tea, click on the links and buy tea if you want. I'm going to tell you just a little bit about this Bird and Blend deal, just for new listeners, just so we don't sound like hypocrites later when we talk about influencers shilling products. Basically, me and Amy would drink loads of tea during the episode, and we made it a thing to say, Amy, what tea are you drinking? And we drank loads of Bird and Blend tea because it was really nice. And so many of our listeners mentioned us to them that they came to us and offered us a deal for affiliate links, which is basically when you go on our website, you click on those links and we get like 10 or 12% of whatever you buy. So they're not paying us to say anything. They're not asking us to say anything. It is literally just, we're recommending tea that we like. And if you like it, you can click on those links and you can give us 10, 12%, or you can just buy the tea straight from them. We don't get anything. Fine. Doesn't matter. It's win-win for everyone. They get sales. We get a little bit of money and you get tea. So that's all it is.
And we don't get free stuff. We don't at all. So I will say, if I'm drinking a tea and it tastes like shit, I will say I don't have any issue saying that.
Amy, did you drink any tea that tastes like shit this week?
No, I'm not.
Good, thank
Legitimately.
God, Jesus.
I'm still working my way through my matcha calendar. As in, I've opened the calendar. I've got all the little matcha things out from the matcha advent calendar. Today I have pina colada matcha, which I wasn't too sure about. I was like, because all my favourite ones I've
Do you
drank
like
now,
pina
Bob's.
colada?
I don't, but I like getting caught in the rain.
That's where I was going to go. No,
I'm not
okay,
into
never mind.
Mozart. But I've got half a brain.
You don't want to make love at midnight. That's way too late.
That,
Come on.
gosh, we got long runs tomorrow. We got to be up. We got to. Yeah.
I got work in the morning.
Yeah,
Leave me alone, woman.
Jesus.
Right, sorry, carry on.
Yes, pina colada tea. It is very nice. I didn't think I was gonna like it, but it's good. It's quite sweet. I thought it was gonna be a bit too like, not citrusy, you know, like the pineapple, like a bit too sour, like pineapple-y, but it's actually nice and sweet. And yeah, and a bit coconutty, so it's pretty good. How about you?
Very nice. I have got the maple bacon tea. I mentioned it last week. Sorry, maple bacon pancake tea, which I mentioned last week. I finally got around to getting some, and it's a rooibos tea. It's kind of a sweet, smoky rooibos tea. I don't think I would have guessed it's maple bacon pancake flavour, because that's a lot of flavours going on. But it's a sweet, smoky rooibos. If you like rooibos tea, you're almost certainly going to like this, because it's very nice.
I do love a rooibos tea.
What have you been up to this week?
I just got back. Well, not just, but kind of just. Just got back from Caerphilly Trail 10K.
Oh, it's been a long day, hasn't it?
It's been a long fucking day, because you were there too. You were marshalling, head person at the checkpoint.
No, not volunteering. I was getting paid.
You were, yeah.
So no, it was great for me to be part of like a race team for a change, see things from the other side. But let's hear it from your side, because that was a tough old 10K.
It was horrific. It was absolutely horrific.
Feeding this all back. Yep, good.
Yeah. It was just all mud. The whole thing was mud, and it was different varieties of mud. So you had like the really deep mud that was just like just slop, you know. So you had some of that mud where your feet just went straight through, almost up to your knees, just slop, stinking, boggy mud. So some of that. then there were also bits that were just incredibly slippy. So not so deep, but because they weren't deep and your foot didn't really sink in, it just meant that it was like ice, pretty much.
Yeah, cool.
Absolutely horrific. And that was the whole way round. There was a bit of respite of like a few 100 feet of concrete, but that was it. I must have run.
A few gravel paths. It was a little bit in there.
The gravel path near your checkpoint was kind of just like uphill though, and I was just like, nah. But it was exhausting. It took me, I don't even want to say, because we'll have somebody messaging in saying, oh, Amy's a shit runner. Da, da, da. We know this. Okay. It took me 2.5 fucking hours to do that 10K. The funny thing is, like,
so 2 hours 34 to do the 10K.
Oh, I didn't pause my watch at the end. That's the other thing.
Okay,
so just
sure.
take 4 minutes off that. I think it was 2:30.
Okay, no problem.
Thanks. But the thing is, as well, it was like, they say on the website, like, oh, it's really open to beginners and stuff. You can walk the whole thing. And it was just to say, like, the race organisation was absolutely fantastic. They seemed really, really inclusive and nice. And they were just, the race organisers, Ridge Runners, just seemed absolutely brilliant. Really, really good. Definitely inclusive and good for beginners. But yeah, it said on the website, oh, there's like a 2 hour, I think for the 10K, it worked out to 2.5 hour cut off, and they said, you can walk it, which of course you can normally walk a 10K in 2.5 hours, but I was going slower than my walking pace half the time because it was that slippery. And there was a part where the trail just disappeared and it was crossing a fast flowing what seemed like a river. Yeah, I
like that bit. Like, you don't cross a stream. There's not a path across a stream. The path just becomes a stream, like an actual stream, and then a path just appears a little while later. I don't know how this path has been made, but it is just a stream. It's great.
I had to say to a lady who was out walking, I was like, have you seen other runners come through here? And is this a path? She's like, oh yeah, I've seen other runners, and it normally is a path when it's dry. I'm like, okay, thank you, because this doesn't seem like the right way to go. So it was that, but that wasn't the worst bit. The worst bit was the field.
Yeah, I've seen comments about the field a lot.
The field. Already. So it was already...
There's a capital T and a capital F on this, just for you to picture it.
Yeah.
In bed or doing the housework. Yeah.
The mud was already bad at this point, and I thought it can't possibly get worse. I've nearly fallen over more times I can even count. Didn't fall over, actually, but I, because I was going so fucking slow. Got to this field, and it was like, I don't know what they've been growing in the field, but there were loads of like almost like bamboo shoots. But I
think it was corn. I think it's something like that. Some thick stalked plant.
Very thick stalk. Loads of them all jagged around. And so that was like, you wouldn't want to fall on one of those. And then the mud in this field, it was a sort of mud where if you stay still for too long, your foot begins sinking and your foot gets literally stuck. Like quite literally stuck. And then as you're trying to pull one shoe out, the other foot's getting stuck at the same time. You have to try and keep moving as best as possible and pray to fucking God you don't lose your shoes in there. It was, I've never, it was literally like a nightmare. You know, a nightmare where you feel like you're going slower and slower and slower and you're sinking. That was it. That was the field. And I was running with some people from my ex-club, your club, from CDF runners. And Sam, who we were running with, did actually lose a shoe in the field. The field took its sacrifice. She had to go back and get the shoe. So she had to because she was going so fast, she like just went on without it. She had to go back and get the shoe. As she went to get the shoe, she fell. And so she had her feet stuck in the mud and then also her hands up to the elbows stuck in the mud, like on all fours. And the funny thing is, like, I was running with two of them, it was Sam and Rachel, and they're like, when one gets stuck, the other one's sort of like helping them out, and I'm just shouting back, going, we need to keep pushing forward. You can't stand still for long. Keep going, keep going. And they're like helping each other. I'm like, no, we need to keep going. If they're stuck, they're stuck. We leave them behind. We can't stand still. We can't go back. It was horrific. I've never experienced anything like it.
That's the nasty part, because it's a ploughed field. It's quite thick kind of soil anyway, and I don't think it doesn't get walked on that much, because there's no clear path across it that you can see, but it is definitely a footpath straight across. But you can't really see it, and it's thick soil anyway, and it rained really heavily last night, so yeah, I've done that field a couple of times and it's bad, but I think it would have been so much worse today. So
Yeah, that's
well done, everyone.
Yeah, that's the other thing to mention as well. Is just the amount of rain that we've had, and I think that's why it was just a complete bog the whole way around. Like maybe if we hadn't had so much rain, maybe there would be some muddy bits, but some more runnable bits. But it was just pure like slop and bog all the way round.
Beautiful day though, wasn't it?
It was a nice day.
Lovely sunny morning, but a lot of mud.
Like I said, I will say Ridge Runners really nicely organised. There was some like cakes and donuts at the end and stuff, and
There were loads.
yeah. And like I said, the race director did his little speech at the beginning, and it was like really nice and welcoming, and it was really inclusive. Really liked that aspect. Won't be doing this particular race ever fucking again unless they move it to the summer. I mean, I'm sure the route was fantastic, but this is not them. This is me, because I'm just shit at running in mud. I mean, that mud is difficult anyway, but I'm like really shit at anything that's like slightly slippery because I'm clumsy. I'm really like, I'm overcautious, and when you're overcautious in mud, that's when you slip over, don't you? Because you're sort of putting on the brakes, which are already in slipping mode. So for me, it was just too much. So I've done it once and never again.
I think that's fair. I think there are plenty of races that you can really enjoy, but say, I don't need to do it again.
Exactly.
I think that's absolutely fine.
And I am looking forward to doing the other Ridge Runners events. So I've got the marathon in a few, like next month or something, out in
4
Carmarthenshire. Yeah, out in Carmarthenshire. Whether I'll do the marathon or not, I don't know, because I might drop down to the half instead because it's a looped one, or I might start as if I'm going to do the marathon, and if I've had enough by the half, just say I'm done and go home. Yeah. Anyway, what have you been up to?
Well, I was there doing that, running around, looking after people. It went reasonably well. We just had one bloody face. So the trail gods were very well sacrificed, as face blood is the sweetest sacrifice. So they were very pleased, but it went very well. He was fine. He's very happy. That was a lot of good fun. So yeah, I got to watch a lot of people racing in mud. So that was very, very funny. The previous week I've done cross country, and again, a lot of mud. We're in Markham Park in South Wales. So much mud. But, you know, a similar kind of level of mud, I think, to what you experienced today. But perhaps it was kind of we didn't really have the wet mud. So like the really kind of sodden puddle of mud. It was just thick, deep mud, like properly over the ankles a lot of the way. And because it's cross country, even if you kind of got that in the back of your mind of like, I'm not taking this seriously, it is still a race. Like, you will still try and do your best. Like, I slowed it for the middle 2 laps because I was sick of it. But the last lap, I was like, oh, actually, I will have a bit of a go here. And so that just made it so difficult. Highest points I've ever scored for my club in cross country.
Nice.
And I beat better runners than me. And that makes me so pleased because I'm a little, small, petty man. And, I sat down, I'd sat down and I saw some other guys in our club run past. I'm like, wait, I've beaten them. Like, these are people that are quicker than me over 10K by about 5 minutes, which is significantly quicker. And I beat them by 5 minutes on this kind of roughly 10K course. So I think it's just, I do better in those conditions because I'm too stupid to slow down. So that pleased me very, very greatly. So it's been, I suppose it's just that muddy time of year where everything is horrendous, and it's a lot of good fun. And my shoes have been wet for a week and I can't dry them anymore.
Nice. Love it.
It is a nasty time of year. Speaking of nasty, this is an Amy-led little feature piece in this episode. Title of the episode. Amy, tell us all about running influencers and why you love them so much.
Yeah, I'm a bit obsessed. So this is, and they're not running influencers, they're runfluencers.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I'm absolutely obsessed with watching these people on TikTok at the moment. If anyone watches TikTok as well, you'll know that the TikTok algorithm is very, very sensitive. So as soon as you start watching a few videos about a particular thing, that's it. Your whole sort of For You page is full of that thing. So I've had nothing but Runfluencers on my homepage for the past week or so. And I just love it because they seem to make the simplest thing, like going out for a 5K, like just a casual 5K training run, that only usually takes them about 20 minutes anyway, because they all tend to be quite fast. But they make it into this whole song and dance, which I love. I can get on board with that. So I talk a lot about how I like to faff and dilly-dally. Well, these must be the biggest faffers in running known to man. Like, pure faff. Pure faff. So let me give you an idea, if you're not aware, of what these sort of TikTok videos look like. So they usually start out with them drinking some sort of weird smoothie type thing or making some super pretentious coffee, and they've got like a whole coffee set up.
I believe they have to smash the coffee.
They smash the coffee down, smash that smoothie, smash the coffee.
Yeah.
It's what's the other thing? Like, they say something like, this is compulsory. No, they say non-negotiable. The coffee's non-negotiable this morning. Like, it's okay. No one's trying to negotiate you not to have coffee. Like, non-negotiable coffee this morning.
Coffee wankers.
Yeah. And they're all sponsored by someone or other. And if they're not sponsored, they're trying to get sponsored. So normally the coffee is some brand name. The weird smoothie thing is some like thing you've never heard of that they're trying to push you to get.
Which is almost certainly a lot of it is, well, if it's not like affiliate links like that we have, which is incredibly low level because they're not actually paying you anything unless you do the work to sell stuff. Or you've got to say a lot of it has got to be this kind of multi-level marketing. It's got to be kind of basically pyramid selling.
Yeah, exactly.
They've put their life savings into buying a box of smoothies and they need to sell them because they're going to go bankrupt.
Exactly. And the more popular ones are usually sponsored by big-ish brands. So the thing I've noticed a lot is them showing off their whole running outfit before they go for a run. And a lot of it seems to be Lululemon, which I think we've all got very short memories because there was a massive controversy around Lululemon just, I think it was 5 or so years ago. Wasn't the ex-CEO made a load of like really horrible comments about women? And ever since then, Lululemon, I'm just like, ugh, no. But they seem to be really pushing it with runners, but also male runners, because that's the thing. Lululemon was more about women before, I think, which is why the comments are really bizarre. But like women doing yoga and stuff, but they're really pushing this running gear, and especially men with running gear. So yeah, usually they're wearing head to toe Lululemon, and they'll go through their outfit and they'll be like, shorts by Lululemon, t-shirt by Lululemon, hat by Lululemon. Like, we get it, it's all Lululemon, we get it, just say that. We don't need, of course, like...
you have to see the clip of them putting on the t-shirt, which just shows the six-pack, doesn't it? That's always very important. Or they'll put the vest on and just give a little flex of the muscle. Or even I've seen a guy who like put his shorts on and just slapped his quad just because it was so hench. He's like, yeah. It's like, mate, chill out. Yeah,
I saw a video the other day. One of them, he's quite big and very sponsored, and he's like showing, like putting the top on, showing his abs. He's like, I'm a hybrid athlete, and it's also a gym day to day because I do not want to look like a distance runner like that. I'm like, all right, bro, calm down. Then of course the shoes, and they're usually wearing like the latest Nike carbon plate cheat shoes, of course. I mean, they're going to run around the block like 5k, but they're making sure they've got the carbon plate shoes on, of course, you know?
It's important.
So now we're dressed and ready to run, right? No. First, they need to apply some weird roll-on thing to their legs. If anyone knows what this weird roll-on thing is, it's not anti-chafe cream. That would make sense. It's not. It's like clear, and they roll it on their calves. I don't know what that's used for. Please enlighten me if you know. I have no idea, but it's in pretty much every video. So now it's like 3 hours later and we're ready to head out the door finally for a run. And of course they spend the whole run filming themselves in like 0.5 zoom, chatting some absolutely pretentious shit about being on the grind and never giving up. And you know, these guys are usually sort of 21, 22, and they know they've discovered, you know, they know how to live life. They've got tips for you.
Oh, they know it all.
They know it all. They know absolutely everything. It's only a 5k, but you better believe they're also making this massive fuss about taking a gel because they're sponsored by that company.
Yeah.
So they'll be like, absolutely. Yeah, we've got to smash this gel down. It's like, bro, you're running 5k. Get over yourself.
Crush a protein bar.
Crush a protein bar. Bonus points for when they rip the plastic bit of the gel off with their teeth and just spit it on the floor.
Nice.
Love that. Love that. Love a bit of littering. Love that.
So good.
Yeah, so that is a Runfluencer video, and you can copy and paste that format and see it played out so many times. Extra bonus points for those runners that live in London, and you know they're filthy fucking rich because they're living in like central London, and that's where their roots are, and they do their runs with their club or whatever, and then they go to really like some really pretentious hipster place to get something to eat and another coffee afterwards. Oh, give me a fucking break, man. Give me a break.
Of the ones I see, which is admittedly very few because I'm not into TikTok, and I don't see many of them on Instagram. I feel like a lot of them they're not really runners. Like, I think they're fitness bros.
Oh,
They're
100%.
weights and fitness bros. That's what I mean. They're not really into running as a pure thing. So you will never see them like promoting club running or kind of I don't know, the kind of, it's difficult to say. I don't want to be like a kind of dick club runner and saying club running is the most important thing, but I think it is a very important thing and it's got a really good, strong place in kind of community and culture. But I think that they're there for fitness and they want to show how good they look. That is the main purpose of this. And there's so many of them as well that I've seen is what I eat in a day, which is such a popular online kind of trend, and I do not understand it because they're all the same. They all eat a shitload of yogurt in the morning, they'll then have a smoothie, then they have bananas and peanut butter on something, then they have a smoothie for dinner, and they'll always say things like, oh, my dinner is protein and carbs. I'm like, because that's what food is. That's what most of food that you eat is, protein and carbs. I'm not saying I'm going to eat some protein and carbs for dinner, but because that's what food is. That's what food is generally made from, is those two things. So and it's just, everything they eat is the same. It's so many smoothies. It's so much yogurt and it's so much banana and peanut butter. It's fine. I don't need to know this. Who's watching these videos?
Yeah. It's just waffling on about nothing. Just a lot of talking about nothing. It's a lot of faffing about nothing, because there are runners that I follow online on Instagram and TikTok who make videos that aren't like this. There's a guy on TikTok who runs a shit ton of these 100-mile races, and he like does like each part of the race and he gives an update and stuff, and it's really interesting because he's running 100 miles. That is interesting. That's inherently interesting. It's interesting to know like how he does that, what he's doing. I don't need to hear about some guy who works in finance and his fucking bagel and getting up at 5 a.m. in the morning for a run and how that makes him better than everyone else. Like, give me a break, man. No.
Do you ever have that moment of self-awareness? Because you said there, it's just people waffling on about absolute bullshit. You watch these videos about normal people talking about just their normal kind of lives and how they go running and eat things. And then you reflect, you think that's absolute nonsense. And then you realise that we have a podcast, which is essentially that of us talking about our quite day-to-day standard running.
Okay, so for sure, the tone of it is different, because there's also runners that I follow on TikTok that sort of do quite a similar thing, but the way they approach it, it's the pretentiousness. It's the pretentiousness of these guys that are doing it, like I'm explaining. Because there's other runners that do very similar things that will just like film them getting ready for a 5K and then chatting on the 5K, but they're not being utterly fucking pretentious about it, you know? And I don't know, there's something about it that there's a line. There is a line. And I think it's the holier than thou attitude, almost like they're treating these videos as almost like they're telling you the best way to live or the best
Everything
way to
is
run.
a how-to, absolutely.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Whereas I don't mind people showing really mundane aspects of their lives and things that other people might find boring. I think that's absolutely fine. I think it's just the tone of it.
Yeah, and if it's honest and if it's real, like we clearly will talk about, I mean, the whole point of this is to talk about the shit bits, or to focus on those particularly. But I think a lot of people skirt over those, and that's where you, of course, get that whole social media thing of, here is just my perfect life. Everything I'm telling you is perfect. Everything is amazing. But at very occasion, they'll slip something in to say, I was a little sad, but blah, blah, blah. And yeah, that's not how life is. And they know they're presenting that in a certain way. And I know some people say that they're not being toxically positive. They're just deciding to show you the positive because they don't really want to talk about the negative things, which I guess, is an argument. But to not acknowledge them and to just show perfection does impact on other people.
And it is so preachy as well. Like, and every now and again they'll slip up and they'll make a video that shows, what their real feelings are about things. I know one of the guys that I've seen quite a few of his videos, and one day he brings out this video that's going on about how people who are overweight shouldn't run. And I'm like, it's really bad for your knees and stuff like that. Okay. So now we can see what you really think and how elitist you really are,
How many of these Lululemon wankers would have been out supporting you doing a 2.5-hour 10K this morning? I don't think they'd be up for that.
They would have been like, you know why it's 2.5 hours? Because you didn't take all these fucking gels that I'm trying to vlog. That's why. Because you don't get up at 5 a.m. every morning and run it's just something about it. It doesn't seem very inclusive. I don't know. I just don't like it. Bad vibes.
And I don't need to see your six-pack.
Ugh,
That's
no.
one, like, especially when they're very clear about I'm all about fitness and health and well-being. But the thumbnail to my channel is absolutely my six-pack.
And they call themselves hybrid athletes because they go
Hybrid
to the gym and
athletes.
they run. How pretentious and wanky is that? It's like Nike was a person. Like they made Nike into a person. That's what it would be. Like seriously,
They would absolutely be
hybrid fucking athlete. What does that even mean? You're not an athlete. Oh no, Nike, of course, everyone's an athlete,
Yeah.
but you're not. Are
If you've got a
you?
body, you're an athlete. Thank you,
But
Bill
you're
Bowerman.
not, are you? Like athletes are usually people that are performing at a certain level and stuff. Like you're not an athlete. It's okay not to be an athlete. God, I want to talk to them. Like I said, they're usually about 19, 20 years old. I want, listen. It's okay. You don't have to be an athlete. It's okay. Just go for a run.
I don't think they give you the time, to be honest.
God, yeah. So
It's a strange lifestyle. It's a very strange lifestyle. As you say, to spend so much time on a video about them just getting dressed or having breakfast. Like you can see it's taken them a long while, and then to edit and do voiceovers and do music and effects and captions, and it's like it's a lot of effort.
Yep.
But you know what? Some of these people are making a lot of money from it, and that's more the bit I don't understand. I always think it's not the influencers the problem; it's the influenced. Like who is watching this and being influenced? That's what I've never understood. That's me, cynical old man, being I don't understand why people watch them, and I don't know why people believe them.
I am being influenced to hate.
Yeah,
but
I
will
get
say that there are like I said, there are some people who do curate these videos and stuff that I do really like. I think it's all about the tone and the holier than thou attitude and stuff, because there are some, I hate to say, content creators who make some really nicely edited videos of them running and talking about running, and I like them. I like it. It's just it's just for these other people. Why are you putting so much effort into basically saying you're shit, I'm better than you? Because that's what they're saying.
But it's okay because I'll help you.
Yeah. If you just buy some Lululemon gear and these gels, you'll be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I mean, we've been actively trying to discourage people from running for years, and so that we've been very upfront about that.
Yeah, definitely.
And we don't care about being particularly likable either.
We also asked you guys for your opinion on these Runfluencers. Of course, you didn't disappoint. These are just some of the responses, because we had quite a few responses to this.
Well, yeah, it definitely hit a nerve.
Yes. So, and also some of them were very targeted, and we've decided to leave those ones out.
So yeah, I'm not sure who exactly, but like some people are very cross about a few people in particular.
Yeah. So they've sort of, the very obviously targeted ones have been left out. So Jay Weimer said, in quotation marks, "Today we're doing an easy 7-minute mile pace, only 15 miles, barely breaking a sweat." Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. They're always like super fast, and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, this is just a recovery run."
Do you know exactly what came to my head after you said that sentence out? Was the emoji of whatever it is with the little finger and the thumb out. That's exactly, that is on there definitely, isn't it?
Fuck off. Yeah.
I don't even know what that signal's called, because I'm too old to know these things, but like barely breaking a sweat, you.
Yeah, hang loose. Yeah.
Hang loose. Never say that again.
But yeah, I see that a lot, and I'm thinking, was it an easy run? Because this is going on Strava, and you want to post this to your TikTok and your Instagram. I feel like maybe you are breaking a sweat just so you can post that and be like, oh yeah, this is how fast I run. Jay also says, "These shoes cost only £300, and I would definitely recommend buying these if you're a new runner. No better shoes out there. No, I'm not getting commission for this. Why do you ask?"
Just hit up the links in my bio.
Yeah.
To see where to buy them.
Yeah, it's either that, or like I said, it's the carbon plate like Nikes that cost a ridiculous amount. And like, oh yeah, you've got to have these. You've got to have these shoes. Like it's always like Nike and Adidas and stuff. It's like, God, noob.
It's always the big ones. The obvious ones.
Yeah.
At Metronome says, "Charging a fortune for coaching when you haven't even got the basic qualifications or any proven track record of being able to train themselves properly." I think that is definitely a thing. Like, you don't need a qualification to be a coach, really. I mean, there are qualifications out there in the UK particularly, but anyone can call themselves a coach, and just people will, I suppose, if people like them online, you can then start coaching.
Yeah, exactly. Paul B said, "Tagging multiple brands into your 3-mile jog, begging for freebies. Yep, scrambled beg on toast. I hate that.
Some people are pretty desperate, and they're just like desperate for a share. And all you're going to get at best is you're going to get shared to that brand's story with no comment, with nothing else. You're just going to get shared on that story, and they'll be like, yes, that's it. That's the one. That's the big move.
It's pretty arrogant as well, because it's like, I get when big athletes do that because they are sponsored, you know? And sometimes, like, if I've got some new gear that I'm running in, I might, like, tag, like, oh, trying out the da-da-da-da-da, because, you know, but I'm not going to, every time I go for a run, I'm not going to tag the brands I've been wearing in my post.
Just for a normal run.
Yeah.
Because, oh, I've been wearing my Hokas. Yeah, so's everyone else. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. And they're not going to sponsor you.
They're not going to sponsor you. They're not going to notice you. There's also quite a few people of saying things like they get quite frustrated about seeing people being gifted places when, particularly the people that make a big deal about, I'm going to qualify for this race. I'm going to do this huge race. Come and follow me. Follow my journey. And it's quite obvious from quite early on, they're not going to achieve it. Like it's way, you know, it's great to have a big target sometimes, but like you can tell for some of these people, like they're almost certainly not going to get there. And then it happens, they get all the way up to it, they haven't trained properly, they do it, not my day. And again, it's that thing of, it's like I say about the London Marathon ballot, when people get really annoyed, oh no, I've got into London Marathon. If you don't want to do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
If you're being gifted a place, or if you've got a place in one of these big races that loads of people want to do and you haven't taken it seriously, I think it's really disrespectful to all those people who wanted to do it and would have done the work.
Yeah, definitely.
And then people that don't do the work, they might not qualify for something like Boston. They get gifted the place anyway. Okay, you've got 100,000 followers. Yeah, you can have a place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's frustrating. Mm-hmm. And they get the same medal as the people who qualified for it. And I've seen suggestions that if you get gifted a place or a charity place, you get a different medal at Boston, which I think there is an argument for.
Yeah, because there is space for. I always think with running, there is space for elitism, as long as you're clear about it, as long as you say you must meet a certain standard to get into this race. There's only an issue when races aren't clear about that or claim to be, oh yeah, we're not this, we're open to everyone, and then aren't. But I think there's definitely space for people to say, oh no, you have to do this to get into this race or get this certain medal or whatever. I think that's
obviously Boston is the most famous example. Like you have to run, say, like 3 hours 20 to qualify for this race, or you can pay a charity $2,000 and then you're in. Yeah. That seems odd to me. That the fact there are charity places in Boston does seem a little odd, because it's supposed to be an elitist race, which we said is okay because there's a shitload of other marathons out there. But you can qualify, or you can just be given a place if you've got loads of followers. You've got big tits and a six-pack.
I'm sure there's other races or other marathons in Boston as well. I'm sure the Boston Marathon isn't the only marathon that takes place in Boston.
There's a Boston Marathon in Lincolnshire. It's probably just as good.
Yeah, exactly. You don't even have to qualify for that. And finally, Kat Abigail Hardman has sent us quite a long message. It's obviously something she's been thinking about for a little while. She says, so influencers, in my humble opinion, they're quote-unquote influencing only because they look okay in tiny, ultra-tight shorts already. Their quote-unquote methods did not get them there. Just to add quickly there as well, this new trend of, as well, with these TikTok influencers, men wearing very, very, very tight Nike shorts, like the skin tight, like you'd wear for cycling sort of thing. And it's not always appropriate.
It's not, no.
It's not. I don't know why this has started, but it needs to stop. Anyway, she goes on to say they don't, quote unquote, influence anything except their own ego, offering utterly useless advice to people who genuinely want practical help. The very, very worst are the female gym influencers who seem obsessed with getting a massive butt. Why? Promoting outrageously unrealistic body images to young women who may not realise that it's often fake camera angles, preferential lighting, etc. The exercises are usually unsuitable for beginners or imply that if you did 3 sets of 10 sit-ups, you will finally have the six-pack that she has in the video. Snake oil at its worst. Totally agree. You know, a lot of the times, like, especially with women who naturally carry more body fat anyway, you have to be really quite, for a lot of women, have to be quite dehydrated and have decent lighting for to show like a good six-pack. Like, there's videos out there that talk about like female fitness models and how they prepare for shoots, and normally involves things like cutting down food, of course, but quite heavy dehydration. in order to make a six-pack show. Because women naturally, most women, I mean, everyone's a bit different, but naturally women just carry a bit more fat. It's really difficult to get a six-pack as a woman and still be healthy. It just is. That's just how it is.
Yeah, there's loads of good accounts now as well of people that will do those kind of shots, but they will show you the shot taken 5 seconds later, which is just them ever so slightly hunched and just looking the other way, and they look a bit shit. Well, they just look like a normal person then, but they just tell you, look, if you just set up like this and twist a bit, look, it makes this happen, but if you don't, you just look like a normal person. So, you know, that person in that perfect shot, they don't look like that all the time. They look like that for that shot.
Yeah, exactly. She goes on to say, then there's the selling something whilst pretending to care. It's worse on how to eat like me influencer pages. Yep. Never ever eat just a banana because sugar. Sign up here to find out what to eat a banana with to stop sugar. I hate that.
That thing about don't eat fruit because sugar. Like, has anyone got fat because they've eaten too much fruit?
But also, it's like, they do this on TV sometimes where they're like, oh, this smoothie, it's got as much or more sugar than a can of Coke. I'm like, yeah, but also, like, firstly, sugar's not necessarily bad. We need sugar. Secondly, you're also getting the other good things from the fruit. Like, it's not just
there's
sugar.
a lot of things in fruit,
Yeah,
Strange.
sugar is good. Fruit is good for you, and sugar is good for you within certain contexts. She says, my biggest pet peeve at the moment is the what I eat in a day. Again, almost always females preying on other females who are insecure about their body image. I am 100% convinced that nobody ever replaces tortilla wraps with lettuce leaves. And this just creates disordered eating. 100%, especially like if we're talking about running as well. I know some of this is about the gym, but any exercise, like, you need to eat properly. You need to have a bit of fat on you as well, like body fat, in order to be able to perform properly. You know, have the energy to perform and stuff. That's ridiculous. Says the most ridiculous thing about it all is the more you watch these videos in order to become more enraged, the more the stupid sodding internet thinks you want to see them. Yeah, exactly the algorithm.
Very much your experience.
Yeah, I mean, I quite like watching them, but I'm not getting many of the female like gym influencer type things. I'm just getting the bros, you know. So I don't really care about.
It knows you well. The algorithm knows you.
It knows me. It knows I'm a bro.
Such a bro. If anyone's got any more of their kind of favorite toxic traits from running influencers in particular and kind of fitness bros, love to hear about them.
Yeah.
Amy in particular would love to subscribe to them.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. I'm obsessed.
Let's go over to our Patreon. You can support this podcast every month. Speaking of begging for money in every episode, here we go. You can go to patreon.com/runningisbullshit. You can donate us money every month if you want. You don't have to. Most of you don't, and that's cool. You can donate however much you want. You can do a penny if you want. Probably wouldn't be worth it to set up. But you can if you want. We don't actually care. We'll still sing your name every month, and it will sound something like this.
Nikki Jenner, Sophie Jacks, Gabriel Thomas Naya, Cole Fleming, Matt H. Ivor Hewitt, Jan Barlegado, Matt Newbury, Andy Robbins, Sophie Nichols, Lee Wood, Victoria Dick, Sandra Hind, Elizabeth Shaban, Charlie Nevison, Adam Bacon, Howard Everett, Spencer Aldred, Matt Burrows, Penny Simpson, Gregory C, Gordon Felwell, Matt Garner, Jason Spinks, Catherine Benton, Jay Norms Dawson, Julia Page, Tony Howells, Kel Ryder, Raymond Quinn, Jerry Grubbs, Graham Hackman, Tom Alcock, David Irwin, Elliot Lai, Jonathan Carter, Victoria Cousins, Daniel Braun, Claire Davis, Victoria Magnus, David Teasel, Martin Jousey, Ruth KP, Jake Leslie, Matt Wazowski, Rachel Bullmore, Clark Gilmore, Debbie Maria Wicks, Angela Foster Swales, Maria Evans, Paul Hibbert, Steve Robson, Cheryl Curran, Gail Seal, Andy Nichols, Joe Running, Amanda Murray Hind, Kat Abigail Hardman, Lee Hardman, Glenn Martin, Jay Howard, Matt Lees, Karen Hamilton, Francis Howe, Erin Shaw, Matt Calvin, Bernadette McCarthy, AP, Neil Denton, Larry Warren, H, Nikki Jones, Ian Lampert, Ian Hales, Debbie Hurley, Sharia Citizen, Lisa Gibbon, Matt Jones, Pedina, Liz Reeves, Brian Simpson, Stuart Stevens, Rachel Bentley, Ruth Jones, Vicky Robbins, Alice Newstead, Dawn Shepherd. That's the end of the song. That was really hard. It's harder than it sounds. I thought this one was going to be easy, but it's not easy. Okay, on to your messages. So don't forget to get in touch with your running bullshit on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. Just search Running is BS and let us know why you particularly hate running this week.
Ivor Hewitt has done that, and he sent us a photo of his glove mittens. Or mitten gloves? Glittens? Mitten? I don't know what they are. I almost don't know how to describe this. There's a thumb, and then two, I don't know what you call that. I guess they'd be called fingers in gloves, but they're like pockets. So there's like one for your index and middle finger, and then one for your ring and little finger. So there's like a 3-claw lobster thing going on. And they look very, very strange. It doesn't help in this photo, but Ivor's frankly been filthy as well. I don't know if he's had the cat sitting on them. But they are pretty gross. But they look so strange. Again, make perfect sense from a like keeping fingers warm point of view. But my God, they just look so strange.
I hate them.
Just two big fat fingers on your glove.
Well, for me, it makes me think about maybe somebody who enjoys dressing up as a horse for a weird reason, and that's how they...
Is there a good reason?
Yeah, exactly. They're into dressing up as a horse.
Hey, you know what? As long as they're happy and not hurting anyone, good for them.
Yeah, I feel like that's the gloves you'd wear if you were dressing up as a horse.
I don't know. Perhaps if you had a bit of a lobster fantasy, maybe, or...
I hate them. I hate it.
Yeah, they're very, very strange. He also gave us a delightful account of him peeing on the run. Yes, Ivor Hewitt is one of those men. He's saying it was the back of an Ironman, where pissing yourself on the bike is fine and, frankly, almost encouraged. The second humble brag in there was mentioning he was leading a trail race and didn't want to stop and lose his first place, so he gave it a go for science. He managed to not piss all over his leg and was very pleased with himself, and handed over to his relay partner, who was unaware of this development until the moment they were listening to this podcast together, and Ivor decided to give the anecdote and received what sounded like one of many eye rolls that he's become accustomed to over the years. He seemed to get away with it this time, but one day you're going to piss on your leg.
Yeah, and thank God you were leading it, you know. Thank God it wasn't out and back. God. At Read Before Ultra tweeted to say, I have totally seen a guy peeing while running. Have you now? Was it Ivor? Not through his shorts leg, though. Dude lowered his shorts, revealing an envelopably hairless butt crack.
That was hard for you to say, wasn't it? Just for so many reasons.
God. She says, I was tragically close behind him, bent forward a little and did his business. Didn't even slow down. What?
That's so strange. Mid-run, just bending forward with it. What? So like it wasn't just like popping the shorts down at the front. It was like the butt crack was out. So you just put the shorts were just round the thigh and still... I don't understand.
What is wrong with people?
I don't like it.
No.
I'm sure I saw a comment somewhere because we asked about this, and I'm sure I saw someone somewhere about a man peeing right on a parkrun start line too. I can't find it now. It must be said, look, if you've got to go, you've got to go. There are certain situations where it's an emergency, you have to go. And we're not slagging off all men just for pissing, but for God's sake, help the rest of us out and piss somewhere that people can't see you. I didn't think I'd have to say these kind of things out loud. It's not that hard. Please don't do it publicly. Please.
No. I feel... Have these incidents happened since the pandemic and lockdowns? Because I feel like it's one of those things where society's gone a bit... Like, people don't know how to behave.
Yeah, they forgot completely.
Yeah, and they've gone a bit
feral. Are they just doing this around the house? Are they just walking around the house and just, like, pissing on the floor? Just in a... Like, well, there's a plant pot, that'll do.
It wouldn't surprise me. These people are absolutely fucking feral and they need to be locked away.
They are among us. Speaking of which, Gabinea said, top tip for wild wees on the canal during run commute rush hour. Think about which way you're facing, lad. Most runners that hour are headed towards the university and city, so leggings around your ankles and wee facing the oncoming runners. Classy. Don't wee on a canal. Don't wee on a busy commuter route.
No.
It's not hard.
No, exactly. The thing is, like, if it was a woman squatting down having a wee in the middle of it, like, people would be like, what the fuck are you doing, you know?
Yeah, they would lose their shit. They would lose their minds.
Yeah. It's not acceptable.
Oh my God.
Support it, running news.
Okay, fine. All right, look. Let's just talk briefly about the parkrun thing and just get it over and done with, all right? I don't want to go hugely into it. Basically, if you haven't heard, they've removed a load of data on the website, such as the runners with the most events and first finishes, sub-17 men, sub-20 women at each event, and basically anything that ranks people and events against each other on the website. It's all gone. Including the search, which is really fucking annoying. A few people have messaged expecting me to kick off about it, and, you know, I was pretty much over it straight away. The same as the Canicross thing. I didn't like it. I don't like it. I disagree with it, but it's done. And there's just no point going on about it. It has changed and you have been left behind. If you don't like it, tough. Doesn't actually matter. It's not going to change. Generally, I think making data freely available is a good thing. I think it's a shame data has been lost. It's there for the people that want it. The majority of people don't want it. Don't look at it. I don't think that's a bad thing. Now, I'm skeptical, as many are, that this data is a barrier to entry. That was one of the reasons they've said about it. Ultimately, it does make sense from a not a race point of view, because they've very much pushed the point it's not a race, but here are the fastest people.
That's what always confused me. Like when
there is a little dichotomy there. Yeah. Personally, I could balance the two in my mind. I could say it's not a race, but also here are the fastest, because I'm interested in kind of both of those aspects. But I can see how that does make sense.
I guess as well, like the fact that it's not a race kind of makes sense from the point of view that it's every single week. So of course you're not going to race it every single week. But at the same time, like I said, the whole, okay, so these are the top finishers and stuff sounds like a bit of a race.
Yeah. But, you know, but then when we're talking about parkrun, I haven't done a parkrun this year. That's 7 parkrun days in a row I haven't done just because I've had other things to do. It's not because I'm against parkrun. It's just because I've moved a little bit further away from parkruns. I can't always go. I can't take my dog with me. And so I'm not super invested in parkrun anymore anyway. So, you know, it hasn't affected me too much. I don't think it will affect me going forward because I don't do it that much often anyway. You can check with me now, of course, for a better discussion on this, and apparently the Aussie version of this, Parkrun Adventurers, they talk about it in depth too, so if you want to hear about it, go and check out one of those podcasts. And Fast Running actually have a good article on it, which is very much not what you would expect from a website that lists the fastest parkrunners every week. They've kind of written a good article that says, you know what, we agree with it, because that seems like the ethos of parkrun to us. We love to do it like this. If they ask us to stop, we will. And I thought that was a really good kind of mature point of view on it. Amy, what do you think about all this parkrun stuff?
Personally, I'm relieved the list of attendance records have been removed, and now I finally feel comfortable to go to parkrun every weekend, as that was the only thing holding me back, really.
Oh, those list of attendance records, like knowing what the Aberdeen parkrun course record was just like, it was too much for you.
I just thought, well, I'm going to really injure myself if I beat this person, and I continue to beat them every week, so I don't want to bring that onto me, so, you know. Yeah,
okay, fair enough. Good news. I look forward to seeing you there soon. In some actual news, let's move on now. Michael Saruni, an Olympic 800-metre semi-finalist, was called for a standard drugs test and was seen switching with a lookalike and then running away.
Running away like a cartoon.
I'm reasonably sure we can take as not an altogether convincing case for innocence. He's been banned for 4 years and is one of over 100 Kenyan athletes who's been banned over the last 5 years.
Gosh.
Has he been like watching back episodes of Sister Sister or something like that? And he's just like, we'll just swap you out and it'll be no problem.
I love the running away as well bit. I love the image of that, of him just like legging it.
Well, no one's going to catch him, are they?
Well, they might do, because if he's not taking his drugs.
I think it was literally how he went to the toilet and like swapped with another guy in the cubicle, but someone saw them.
That's amazing. I love it. So it seems like Indian running news is the new Chinese running news, as police noticed labourers who were working on setting up tents and banners for the Mumbai Marathon were behaving strangely and avoiding them. When searched, they were found to be in possession of 62 of the race finisher medals because they had come across the boxes, had a look inside, and thought they were made of gold. God.
I love this.
2,200 medals altogether were missing and meant that 500 runners missed out on the big day. Race organisers stated that the actual value of the medals was about £2 each.
Oh, I love the idea of coming across boxes and like, God, look at this. What? Gold. They're gold medals. They're all made of gold. And the fact that like you can lift up an entire box of gold medals and they wouldn't be too heavy for you, obviously not knowing that gold is incredibly heavy, but I love the fact they thought, these are gold, right, we'll have them. Amazing. They're just like £2 medals. Finally, the kind of and finally story that makes the local news and makes the presenters do that kind of warm chuckle to themselves. So, you know when you see a runner with a stupid costume or carrying something stupid in a marathon and you wonder how on earth they train with them? Well, Daniel Fairbrother found that going out on a training run in Stevenage with a fridge was harder than expected when the police pulled him over thinking he might have stolen it. They quickly realised this was not the case as it was strapped to his back with a QR code on the side, and it ended with a handshake and Daniel, not fazed at all, saying he would expect the police to do their job and check on someone running along with a fridge. I'm not convinced many fridges are stolen on foot, but I guess it's always worth checking.
I'm not sure many fridges are stolen full stop.
I'm not sure it's the most obvious thing to steal, is it?
No.
And especially not on your back
No.
in the middle of the day. Daniel is aiming to raise 10 grand for Diabetes UK by running quicker than 4:52, which is the marathon record, of course, for a marathon with an appliance.
Nice. It could be any appliance.
Yeah, you could just have an air fryer or something.
Yeah, why is it with a fridge then?
Just a toaster in your backpack would be much easier.
Yeah.
Mug. I've got to say, all three of these stories this week are all from the Running Channel news site. It's not a website I've actually come across before, but lots of really good news. It looks like relatively new in the last year or so, but the Running Channel seems to have a very good new news website, so that's very handy for us. Have a look at that if you want.
Nice. So, Stuart, what have you got coming up next?
More cross-country! This time, less mud and more hills, so not sure if that's better or worse, but looking forward to that. I always like a bit of cross-country running is great. How about you?
I've got Rado Around the Lakes up in
Is this the one you
Mid-Wales.
missed out on last time?
Yeah, I had to miss out on it last time. This time, hopefully it'll get done. It's like 18 miles. I'm driving up there and back in one day, so the only thing that will stop me is if the weather's absolutely pants and I don't want to drive up to Mid-Wales. I'm back in one day, but otherwise I will be there. I will be doing it. 18 miles. It's going to be horrific. I'm going to be like the last person to finish because it's all club runners that tend to enter. So...
Yeah, I think, when it's 18 miles, it's less kind of randoms doing it. It's people training for marathons.
Yeah, I wish it was loads of randoms, though. It's a really nice race. It's like... Yeah,
it looks
really
nice. It's road, isn't it? But it's around a massive reservoir.
It's road, but you get like the nice views that you get from trail running and the hills that you get from trail running. So it is nice. I wish there were more randoms, but I'm sure there won't be, and I'm sure it will be me finishing pretty much last while everyone's packing up. So there we go.
Party at the back. Love it.
Yeah. If you've enjoyed this bullshit, please visit runningsbs.com to see the show notes and links from this episode and the whole back catalogue, as well as links to our Patreon, merch store, and social medias.
Oh, bye.
Bye.
I'm like a chicken.